So much news to get into today. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of stuff we got. It's 12.1, boys. That means tons of stuff to talk about. We're talking classes, we're talking the new raid, the new delves, new stuff. They're completely changing how loot works from the vault. I wasn't expecting any of this, but let's just dive straight in. Here we go, boys. So first off, before we get into that, your Mythic Plus top 1% reward has been revealed, and it's absolutely glorious, I have to say. This is a red and black version of the Ashes of Beleren. It's freaking beautiful. Everybody's going to want it. Only 1% are going to have it. That's right. The top 1% currently, to be top 1% Mythic Plus, you need to do basically all above 19s. For NA servers, that's a 3784 rating. Thank you for that. What is that? Yeah, we got a little Queen Julian. And then besides that, we got a 3845 for EU servers to be top. So there you go. That's how that's going to work. Honestly, not surprised that this mount is looking as good as it was. The fact that Blizzard hadn't revealed it up until this point, I was like, man, it's got to be good. And good it was for sure. So a nice looking mount, no doubt. And excited to see what ends up happening with that. But the bigger news today to get into, honestly, 12.1. There is so much to get into with this, so let's just dive straight in here. Full patch 12.1, Curse of Ulatek, PTR notes, and dev. Here we go. Let's dive straight in. The Curse of Ulatek. That's right, boys. This is your big, preview for this thing. It's going to be a glorious looking patch so far. I mean, from what I've seen, it's everything we thought it would be. Nothing too surprising with this. Really what it is, it's your Curse Isle of Fangs. You know, we're going to go to the Isle of Fangs. We're going to do this. So we got an all-new chapter here of Amani troll-based stuff. Here it is. Continue the story with Zul'Jan as the fog lifts on the isles off the coast of Zulaman. Will join Zul'Jara as she pursues him to bring her brother and the others home to Zulaman. We'll delve into long-buried histories of the Coiled Isles, learn more about what's locked away, and what was left behind. Oh, man. All right. So a lot of this we expected. Honestly, it was kind of hinted at many times before. Here's a little image of the way it currently looks in the game with the fog lifted. So this will be a little adventure off the coast of Zulaman as we head across the broken bridge into the Coiled Isle. So what is the Coiled Isle? Within the mountain of the Coiled Isle, you'll undertake a variety of new activities as you explore this corrupted ecosystem filled with poisonous waters and venomous foes. Plunge into the vaults of Altatech, primed for challenging group content and rotating public events. Taking part in these public events will ultimately build up to a boss fight. So we got open world boss fights. That's what this sounds like open world dungeon boss fight things. This is interesting. They say group content, but it's a rotating public event. So this sounds very interesting. While in the zone, players will have access to custom talent trees that will provide different perks of player power along with quality of life perks like reduced potency for venom in the zone. So building up an immunity, this almost sounds like cursed armor or whatever we were calling it back then in BFA. So building up immunity to whatever the hell we're dealing with in that zone. Sounds like another power progression system, whatever that is. Okay. As you adventure through the zone, you'll come across cursed surges, which will regularly spawn rare elites at 5 rotating locations throughout the isle. Killing a rare elite unlocks cursed fishing in that location. Okay, we got a fishing mechanic here? Is that what Blizzard's making fishing relevant again? What's going on here? Okay. And then you'll also discover a local story of the Tortolan sea captain named Toka. He gained reputation with his crew. You'll gain reputation with his crew and learn to fish in more cursed waters around the isle. What's with the fishing? I wasn't. I want to be honest. 12.1 fishing becoming a big thing was not on my bingo board. So okay, we got fishing stuff. I don't need to raid Mythic ever again. Well, yep, you're not wrong, Doc. We'll talk a little bit about that. So here we go. We also have introducing layers. Layers are an evolution on world bosses located in instanced encounters with scaling difficulty up to flexible mythic 15 to 25 players. These will be found in specific locations similar to delves and will come complete with summoning stones outside of their layers. The goal is to make it easier for players to gather and take on these bosses by encountering them at specific locations where you can choose your difficulty and use the summoning stone to bring you to others. Whoa. So we're making world bosses more relevant again. So it's, yeah, exactly. It sounds like what they're doing is converting world bosses to one boss raids. They seem to think one boss raids is the way to go with this. World boss has just been kind of a Zerg and Purge kind of thing. Nobody really needs any loot from that stuff. So we're basically turning world bosses into single boss raid bosses with that, and then a mythic difficulty attached to it as well. Mythic flex difficulty, I should say. Interesting. So this whole thing is, do I like it? Maybe. I think I do. I think world bosses have been pretty irrelevant, and honestly, the way Sporefall has gone, it's been kind of fun to just form a parade and kill one boss. So I'm kind of down for this. I think this is going to be a good thing. So we'll see how that ends up going. We also have the new raid, your traditional raid, obviously, new patch, new season means new raid. So the Venomous Abyss. Arriving with the start of Midnight Season 2, players will face Olatek herself in a venomous abyss, an ancient powerful creature of hatred, corruption, and venom. Olatek has been unleashed by Zul'Jan's actions. This new raid dungeon will feature 8 new boss encounters, and you'll ultimately face off against Olatek as the final boss. So there we go, 8 new raid encounters, 8 new boss fights, a full-blown raid with no surprise here, honestly. Olatek, the snake Loa we talked a lot about, and I told you guys many times before, all this Loa stuff coming up. No surprise that this is going to be the final boss, so there we go. This boss looks kind of cool. That says multi-headed serpent dragon. Looks like we're fighting in a room filled with poison. She's probably going to be diving, ducking, swimming around. So we'll see how this all works out in terms of mechanics. But a lot of this we kind of knew was coming. We also have a new dungeon. I didn't expect this, though. The Altar of Fangs. Okay, this is a new dungeon. A new 3-boss dungeon will be available up to heroic difficulty at the launch of the content update, and will join the Mythic Plus rotation for Season 2 when that kicks off. So, nice. So we have another new dungeon as part of the rotation. We'll talk about the rotation of dungeons here for Season 2 in a little bit. That's an interesting looking snake boss. Yes, it is. For Delves, we also have that update there. Gregs of Accounting. Listen real quick here. We have 3 new Delves, with one of these delves as a new Nemesis delve. Okay, we have the new Nemesis boss. That's right. I always forgot we're going to get one of these with the new season. So we're going to have a new double question mark Nemesis boss. You'll step into the Ring of Glory, Nalador Isle, and Venomfall Deeps Nemesis delve for a new reward and a little glory. With the start of Midnight Season 2, bountiful delves will become available, and players will be able to push into the upper tiers to challenge themselves beyond Tier 7 and face off at the new Nemesis boss. You'll also begin encountering new snake and venom variants of existing Midnight Delves. So there we go, also changing some of the existing Delves. So Delves, a core pillar now of WoW. That's no surprise that we're getting new Delve content, and this looks cool. Okay, Season 2. Here we go. We got our Season 2 dungeon rotation, what this all means for all of us. So, Mythic plus dungeon rotation. We're going to have the new dungeon that we just talked about, Altar of Fangs. We also have Murdered Row, Den of Narlac, the Blinding Veil, and Void Scar Arena. So this is how this is going to work. We have these Mythic plus rotations, and then returning dungeons, we're going to have King's Rest, Ruby Life Pools, all right, and then Temple of Sathralis. Interesting, and no surprise, I guess, that we're getting a Sathralis dungeon coming back with all this snake stuff going on. Okay, that kind of makes sense. And King's Rest, we just went there for the new Loa questline for, what's it called? The lore walking thing. So there we go, King's Rest coming back as a dungeon as well. So there's your Season 2 rotation of dungeons. I'm not sure how many people feel about this. Bricks King's Rest. I'm not going to break King's Rest. We'll be just fine with that. Okay, the Prey system. Moving on. Season 2, a new affix, new targets, and some new hunts on the Coiled Isle in the Prey system. Astralore also has a few new voice lines to deliver, and new Arcantina quests ahead of you. The new Prey season will be available for testing on the PTR soon. So there you go for all of you guys who enjoy the Prey system. This is going to be a whole new thing that you can dive into, and they're continuing to iterate on it. Blizzard's not abandoning the Prey system after a single season, so that's good to see for you guys. Sam dies on quests with no combat. Unbelievable. Unbelievable comments today. Okay, housing. We're getting blueprints, guys. Blueprints are a new way to share items that you've built. So yes, blueprints will be made available. This is how you're going to be able to share things. More importantly, blueprints can be reported. So there you go. So anybody who's sharing a blueprint of a giant phallic cock made of pillows, that's not going to be a thing that you could share for very long, because you will get reported on that. Blueprint codes can be linked through chat. They operate over the entire house, interior or exterior only, or a single room. So you can share different variations of blueprints in terms of size, scale, and everything. You can also blueprint certain items. So this is really cool to see. I know a lot of people who are into player housing will be happy and excited that they're getting the blueprint feature for sure. For pets, pets will now be in your homes. That's right. Inside and outside, I should say, you'll have pet beds, which allow players to show off your pets within your homes. Players can have up to 10 beds, 5 outside, 10 inside, so you'll be able to share a bunch of your pets. Any of you pet lovers out there, we all know Conicia can have a bunch of cats running around in her house. For endeavors, we have the 4 new endeavors. The knockoff Amani, Every Barker has its day, Bakar has its day, Candle Culture, and Vacation Season. We also have dye updates for housing. Dye crafting has been streamlined, considerably freeing up bag space that have taken up by dyes, and then a few other housing changes with the UI and stuff like that. And up to, you can now reach renown or level 12 through your housing, unlocking increases limits, larger exteriors, stuff like that. So Discord, we also talked about this. I already knew this. I told you guys I have a whole video about it. Discord integration is coming to WoW. That's right. It won't be long before you'll be able to speak to your guildmates both inside and outside of the game by connecting your Battle.net and Discord accounts to chat with your guild no matter where they are. Whether you're coordinating your next raid run, looking for more people to join your PvP game, or just hanging out with neighbors together, you'll be able to send messages quickly and easily. There you go. So there you go. A full-blown Discord integration into the game. I just wonder, Discord gets a bit sketchy at times. Can you be banned from WoW for shit that's said in a Discord that's integrated into WoW? Serious question, because, yeah, we say things more freely in Discord than we do in-game for sure. So we'll see how that all plays out. But, yeah, full-blown Discord integration. That's fine for anyone who actually likes using Discord. Continue the hunt for Xal'atath and Erator. We'll also get an update on Erator as he deals with the fallout of the Void Spire, and we'll also investigate the resurgence of the Twilight's Blade with him as we continue to hunt for Xal'atath. So there you go. More stuff coming with Xal'atath. The storyline continues there. And Erator, obviously. The Dummy Dome is going to be available on the PTR. What is this? A new test zone full of combat dummies and 50,000 pounds of mud that you can reach by speaking to Nexus Lord Donjon Raid Chi, whatever this is, the 5th. I don't know what the fuck this number is. Or it's the 11th or the 9th, okay? In major cities. Okay, what's the point of this thing? In this high-octane training arena, you can initiate fights with 1, 2, 3, or 5 dummies, and all wearing all that will have the same armor. Season 2 raid bosses whose health decreases steadily over 5 minutes of encounters with execution accuracy. Adrenaline junkies can also spawn hazardous dummies that deal ramping steady damage, literally killing you and your friends if you don't heal through it. So rev your engines for the carnage. Is this this looks like some kind of training arena that they're putting out here. So a way to train yourself against multiple dummies, against raid bosses even? Is this an actual event or just a training arena? That's what I'm wondering here. Like, is there actual awards and rankings and stuff, or is this just used for training? It's a healing training arena. That's what it sounds like a way to train yourself up, learn boss fight mechanics. So this sounds cool, if that's what it's going to be. A new way to basically train yourself, learn your rotation and all that other kind of stuff. This will be good for new players for sure. And people who are just changing up their spec and want to relearn their rotation. Okay, we got class changes here, a lot of these. I'm going to go through these in a separate thing right now in a little bit. We'll talk about that. Tons. Oh, my God. Oh, shit. I mean, that's a lot of class changes. And we got class sets here, so also that's another big thing. Yes, we'll talk about tier sets in a second. Tons of stuff there. So we also have a bunch of item updates, and ways rewards are going to change. So raids are going to reward... rewards are going to change in a major way, and we're going to talk about that here. So raid rewards, LFR, normal, heroic, and Great Vault rewards are now awarded at the first step of the next harder difficulty upgrade track. For example, if you do heroic raid, your vault is now going to grant you 1 of 6 myth track gear. This is crazy. So this is changing how you're going to completely play the game, honestly. It also makes raiding Better than Mythic Plus again? For the first time maybe since Mythic Plus has existed? This is absolutely crazy. So we got a full change up of how Mythic Plus is going to work, or how rating is going to work in terms of rewards, equating it and even surpassing Mythic Plus now. That's what it feels like. Getting Myth Track gear from clearing an entire raid, that's a big thing from Vault. As I said before, now, what does that mean for Mythic Raid? Well, Mythic Raid now will reward you Mythic 6 of 6, apart from very rare items and loot from final bosses. So Vault from Mythic Raid will basically require no crests anymore. If you're Mythic raiding, you don't need to grind out crests because you're going to be gathering 6 of 6 gear from your Great Vault. You'll still need crests maybe from the gear that drops within the raid, but overall, your vault is just going to give you straight up 6 of 6 gear, so that's really cool. Mythic Raid, very rare items, and loot from the penultimate and the final boss will be acquired at the equivalent of Myth 9, regardless of whether acquired directly from the boss or from the Great Vault. So there's going to be these really rare items that are even higher item level. So yeah, this is a huge change to how gearing is going to work in the game. Man, being a heroic raider now, getting Myth Track gear every day. Now, you're still going to gear out slower than somebody who's Mythic raiding because they're getting loot from every single boss at a Myth Track level, whereas you will be getting heroic level gear from the raid, but Vault will give you Myth Track gear. I think it's a great change. I like this a lot. Nebulous Void Cores, looks like these are going to continue. So Season 1 Void Cores will be converted to gold upon the end of Season 1, and they will no longer be used. Nebulous Void Cores will be available as a Great Vault reward from Season 2. Orin Starlight has begun learning the basics of weaving nebulous void cores from void energy and has relocated near the catalyst in Silvermoon. He will be able to provide you with 1 additional nebulous void core per week starting with Season 2. Nice, so we no longer have to go to Void Spire for that shit, so that's a nice change. The cost to roll for a raid item is reduced to 2 nebulous void, has reduced from 2 nebulous void cores to 1. This is great. So they're changing it up. Right now, the way it currently works is Mythic Plus, you only use 1 void core to bonus roll, but raiding is a bit more punishing. You have to use 2 for that. They're evening the odds now. Now it's just 1 for everything, so that's also good to see. As in Season 1, items acquired from nebulous void cores will continue to be equivalent to Great Vault rewards in terms of item level. Wait a minute. So does that mean if you bonus roll on a raid boss in the raid, you have a shot at a Myth Track piece of gear if you're in heroic raid? Because they just said they'll be equivalent to Great Vault rewards. So shit, man, the bonus rolls just became that much better too. Yeah, yep, that's exactly what I'm getting from this is if you have bonus rolls while heroic raiding, you can get yourself Myth Track gear, then get yourself Myth Track gear from the vault as well. Man, we are going to gear the hell out. I just talked about this one, so this is good. Another thing, though, Catalyst changes here. Your set now inherits secondary and tertiary stats as well as certain cantrip effects from items converted within the Catalyst. Oh, man, that's huge, too. Man, they're changing up gearing a lot here. So if you have a belt with a cantrip effect on it, you can essentially convert it to tier gear, but still keep the cantrip effect on it. Which means there is going to be like these new ultimate best in slot items, because no longer will it just be, well, you know, can get your tier piece in your tier slots. If there's a cantrip item in that slot, converting that to tier gear will be the craziest thing ever. No dupe protection, but still, this is pretty crazy though. This is a big change because then cantrip items become automatically like biz items no matter what slot they're involved in. This is a pretty big change. Okay. Moving on from there, we're not going to talk about PvP stuff. I won't get into that shit right now. Interface and accessibility, we also have changes here. Cooldown Manager now tracks trinkets and potions. Buff and debuff icons display on raid and party frames can now be independently sized for border scales. Healers can now assign visual alerts to specific buffs and spells, so that's good for healers. I know their UI has been lacking big time in the game. They added a new category called Short Sounds to use for your cooldown manager. Okay. And then they also have sounds and cooldown managers are now available to be used for combat audio assist accessibility features. Good. So more sounds in the game. A lot of stuff that add-ons used to do will now be available through the game, being able to use sounds in that. They're also changing up the pinging system. This is an interesting one here. You can now ping your action bar and spells on the cooldown manager. What this will do for you is essentially if you ping something like your health bar, you'd basically be telling the healer, I need healing. Or if you ping your mana bar, you'll be telling the rest of your party folks, your raid or whatever, that you're like low on mana. So by pinging certain things, it basically calls out certain things to the rest of the raid. So as I said before, you can now ping resources as well, such as health bars and things like that, to communicate info in a chat bubble. Pings also now allow certain unit frames like target, focus, and raid to be pinged. Ping systems now have a new option to target environment only, units only, or both. Updated ping macros and stuff like that, okay, and adding the ability to use the @cursor target to ping macros. Okay, so you can create a macro now to ping certain things, so that's also great for certain mobs that you want to automatically have a macro. You just click it and it'll ping the mobs for people to go touch. That's great. For nameplates, new options added a friendly nameplate setting to show only the name, use colors for names, or hide realm names, so that's all great. More edit mode changes like raid warnings can be moved, stuff like that. Add-ons. They added a new API that allows add-ons to display filter sets of auras in customizable ways without exposing the underlying aura information that could be used for automation. So this is good. A little bit more add-on grace, I guess, but they're still not allowing add-ons into the game. I read into more of this. Basically, they want to allow boss fights to have more customization, but still not allow you to have anything on the level of what a weak aura will be. So some more stuff. They're also allowing more healer add-ons, more healer-based stuff, because they know healers are kind of hurting right now. Okay, in terms of the world overall, what's changing with this patch? The Amani Pass between Eversong Woods and Zulamon should no longer dismount players as they pass through it, and they fixed several creature spawns across the entire game that could cause players to be stuck in combat. So there you go. And then some known issue fixes. So major stuff coming out with this, as I said before. Tons of information with the seasonal content. This is really cool. And we'll see more about what's going to be happening here with 12.1. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And for today, that is all in terms of news.